Good evening, everyone. Let's do a brief audio and visual check. How's everybody doing tonight? Give me a second while I get a few things set up on my end. Let's go through here. Just a moment. All right. Well, welcome again. Welcome to Slow Markets, everybody. I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. As always, in the YouTube chat, there is our risk disclosure. This is for educational purposes only. It's not a signals class. Anything that we say or talk about in class, it's for educational purposes. We go through it every night. Learn it, live it, breathe it, right? And that being said, let's go through this evening and then we'll kick it off. So, as always, the way it's going to be, we're going to go through our rapid fires. We're going to look at the NASDAQ, crude oil, Nikkei, which is the Japanese markets, and then we'll talk about gold at 8 p.m. Central. After the gold, we will take a look at the 100-tick chart. We had a poll yesterday, and the poll said and called for the 100-tick chart. You guys want me to maybe talk more about that? And so I will. And then after, we'll go ahead and go through some trader statistics. And so if you would like me to review your statistics tonight on stream, I'm going to go ahead and pin the Topstep Discord in the YouTube chat. That is my specific channel in the Topstep Discord. And so there we go. That's it. Is the stream lagging? Let's see. Stream is lagging here too. Oh, okay. Let me see if I could just reboot that. Give me one moment. We don't want it to be lagging for everybody. So give me just a moment. How's that? It's buffering a lot. Buffering. I think it's fixed. Let's do a check. We could do a check here. I'm good on my end. I have really high-end internet. Let's go. I'm going to stop and then restart the stream. So bear with me, guys. All right. How's that? So good evening, everybody. Welcome to Slow Markets. We're going to go ahead and redo that here. So as always, I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA. We're going to just start off, everything that you guys just seen. It was just a figure of your imagination. We're all living in a simulation that never did happen. That being said, here in the YouTube chat, there is our Topstep risk disclosure. Everything we say and do is for not for signals, right? This is not a signals class. We all have our own agency, yada, 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 if you missed that before. So let's just jump to it. Let me adjust my camera. Now that we're thinking, let's just adjust it just a little bit so I look a little bit better, squared up. So Now, going through the itinerary, we're going to be doing the rapid fire. Then we'll do the gold 8 p.m. breakout if we can find a trade. And then after the 8 p.m. Central, we will start looking at the tick chart. You guys voted on it. We did a poll last night. You guys wanted to see the tick chart. And yeah, I'm going to give it to you guys, right? You guys want it, I will give it to you. And then after the tick chart, maybe we'll see if there's some slow market set up. We'll go over the crude oil trade that we set last night, and then we'll jump into some trader statistics. So pinned to the top of the YouTube chat, man, I had the whole thing set up, and now I can't even think straight. But in the YouTube chat, I pinned it to the top. It's the Topstep risk disclosure. Cut that. Take 3. Do I need to take? I need to freaking take 3. Okay, pinned to the top to the YouTube chat. It is the Topstep Discord. My channel in the Topstep Discord. Go ahead and over in Topstep X, if you'd like me to review your statistics near the end of class, go ahead and click on Performance Statistics. Over on the top right-hand side, click on Share, and then you copy that link and share it to that Discord, that Discord channel. So let's jump in. I'm a little bit behind. We got over that. We got over that. Yeah, Turbo, live and uncut. That's what you guys get here at Topstep, right? Like this is raw. There's no, smoke and mirrors. It's no BS. So that being said, here's the NASDAQ. Here's the daily, and somebody pointed out in that channel. Yesterday, I was kind of feeling that, and it's kind of funny how CNBC kind of does their, I guess, what do we want to call it? Their headlines, right? Here's that headline. Someone posted this in that same channel. Yesterday, I felt the same thing. NASDAQ snaps 8-day winning streak. So CNBC is pretty dang predictable about how they write their headlines. I mean, I personally wouldn't consider this saying snap being a winning streak. Sure, it was a red day. Technically, it's eliminated. It's snapped, right? It's very dramatic. To me, it's not really much of a pullback. We've seen this before. This is the daily chart on the NASDAQ. And so look at this. We had this nice rally, and then we had a couple days like today. We had another nice rally, and then the same thing. Another huge rally again, and then another rally, and then today was again. So, I mean, I don't know. What your guys' guess is, to be honest, as good as mine. Do we have another rally, right? It's just a rally, a pause, rally, pause, rally, pause. The one thing I do want to point out is these rallies are not as big, right? You could tell we're starting to lose some momentum. So if we do, measure the first rally to the second rally, those are pretty close to being equal. But this one is like just over 1/2. So maybe it's not as big of a rally. So we're starting to lose a little bit of steam, maybe. And if we start to zoom into an hourly chart, I think we could start to see it, right? Where we've seen these nice 2 big rallies, very similar to each other, but we didn't get that today. We got that hesitation. We are starting to see a little bit of a slowdown. We are stair-stepping up. We are at this key level. As we could look over here to the left, this is that zone, this zone that we've been watching. It's a big fat zone anyway. I mean, look how wide that is. Don't make a meme on that one. Yeah, I'm looking for the NASDAQ to come down towards 19,700. I'm looking for us to go and find a lot of support, maybe start to sell off and find an area of support. So let's go ahead through this. Let's take a look. So here is an area of support that I have been looking at. Yeah, I was thinking we was going to get there today. Unfortunately, we didn't. We've kind of hesitated right here around that 19,800. It was a very messy consolidation day. You can see here on the 1 hour chart where we had that nice fake up into the 920s, immediately sold off and then started to consolidate the rest of the day. And here we are the past hour. We're finding a little bit of a buyers, but I would much prefer to see if we could sell back down to 19,700 until I start to feel comfortable to say, okay, now we can start looking. I'm going to be looking at more of a long bias. You can see today when I was on TopstepTV where I love to have the background. Today I had a bear looking for a bit of a sell-off. I was selling during the New York session and it worked out pretty well. And sure enough, we didn't get to any of these targets. We started to bounce around 19,000, 750, 740s in that zone. I'm not convinced that this was the pullback. I mean, I would prefer to see a deeper pullback. And if we don't get a deeper pullback, maybe a longer consolidation, right? Because either a deeper pullback or longer consolidation. For example, we had this nice deep pullback here on the 15th, and we had a longer consolidation. So we have not received this yet, where this was a relatively deep pullback and that consolidation. So I believe that we could see some of that going into tomorrow, where maybe we even have a deeper pullback or more consolidation. I'm not looking for this market to break out. Doesn't mean we won't. It's just my expectations and the way that this market is acting, we could very well break through, but I'm expecting a lot more consolidation tonight and going into the maybe until Thursday. I'm reading the chat. You guys are distracting me as heck. Yeah, I've kind of been thrown off my game with that the little bit of buffering and needing to reset the stream. So, but that being said, I'll come back to the NASDAQ. There is a slow markets trade I do want to talk through tonight that I do see setting up, and maybe we could put on an educational trade in a demo account together. It's really there for us to get used to, putting a order in, whether it's a buy or sell limit, or a buy or sell stop, and then letting that go through tonight. So let's go ahead and move into crude oil. And let's start crude oil from the daily chart. So crude oil, last night and throughout today, we did get a bounce. So, basically throughout today, we did get a nice rally or a pullback. This was a pullback from 72.50 all the way up to 74.40, and that was a beautiful opportunity if you were to get in a short. However, I did not get into it. I was actually looking for the market to return maybe closer up into these higher 74s before looking for an opportunity to get into a short. The market decided to just turn around right around 74.38 and selling back off. Crude oil has been very heavy. We've been in such a strong bear market here in crude, and even more so the past week or so. And we could head to test even some of these lowers, like 72. 72 I do see as a decent target. And then as we start to look at those higher time frames, as we were looking at last night, even on the daily, would be around the $68 a barrel. These around $68 a barrel. You remember, it's a zone. It's not an exact price. As you can imagine, we could just draw a big zone and say, your guess is as good as mine when it comes to where that zone is. The idea is that if we do break down, we could see a break below $70 a barrel. And most likely I'd be liking 68 to maybe 67. in the near term. And will we see it, tomorrow, the next day, this month, this week? Not sure, but the trend is down. We've been selling off. We had that nice little rally at, the first, the second week of August, and then it's been selling since. So looking for a break below this, and if we do, it could get ugly fast, because when crude oil does break and sell off, we could sell off $2, maybe even $3 really quick. I would still much prefer a bigger, I guess, pullback in order to get short, because even on the daily, it's just, a massive sell-off. There hasn't been really a pullback. This is an example of what I would like to see, maybe some type of a pullback before a sell-off, some type of a consolidation before a sell-off. I know this is a daily, and so it could take a few days for us to get, some consolidation or even a pullback before we have a nice sell-off. Gee whiz, 68.68 is a weekly level. Ooh, let's take a look at that. While I'm here, let's take a look at the daily levels. So I do see that, I'm just curious about this. 70.88 is a level. It looks like we did bounce off the 72.60, and we're hovering there. Let me look at the hourly chart as well. Yeah, wow, we bounced right off that 72.60 level, that we had. See, that's what I'm saying. The Topstep day levels on here, it has been pretty dang nice to see how they've been working. So if we do sell off, or if we do start to break, 70.88 is one level, and I'm just really curious on where that level came from. So let's look. Okay, I kind of see that, right? We do have some support here. I'm not real 100% sure. I'm curious. Yeah, I'm always watching these levels, seeing how they match up to my own analysis. As I'm not going to use them in my strategy. I'm not going to use them as a signals, and I'm not going to be using them to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to trade that. However, I have been watching them just to see how they react compared to the way that I am viewing the market as well. But not too much. I would prefer a deeper and maybe even a bigger pullback before getting in short crude oil. It doesn't mean we can't just sell off. I mean, if we sell off, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll be a little bit sad because I want to get into a short in crude before we break. It has not given me that opportunity yet. Let's go ahead and take a look at Nikkei. And now moving right along. Remember, I got slowed down a little bit because of the rough start to the stream. So let's just go through here. All right, Nikkei. Nikkei is the Japanese market. We all know that we've been in a very bullish trend since that sell-off on Monday, very similar to the regular indices here in the United States. And you know what? That could have been a nice bounce. I mean, if we are just playing a buy the dip game here on the Nikkei, and we're looking to buy maybe some type of a low, that could have been it. That, if I was watching the Nikkei, I think that would have been an amazing opportunity. Now, with a little bit of hindsight on our back, then sure, yeah, it's easy to go back with hindsight and say that was a great opportunity. But that has been the story here ever since that sell-off on Monday, is buying these dips. And I could sit here and highlight all of these little sell-offs that were just great opportunities to buy. And so I'm curious, if we zoom in, how clear was it? Was there a very clear and obvious opportunity? Yeah, maybe that's actually not looking too bad, to be honest. We have this downtrend. We broke out of this, right? Where we broke out of it, and now it looks pretty clear with hindsight at our back. And now we're starting to rally. We're breaking above 37,840. We broke above that pivot. Man, I even missed that one. If I was watching it a little bit sooner, I think I might have been in at like 78.45. The next area that I would look to target is going to be right here. I would like to see, that's right around the nice round number, 38,000. Let's see if Nikkei could get to 38,000 here tonight during slow markets. We're about 100 and, well, here we're pushing up now. So 38,000. I'd like to see if we could get there. I'm going to go ahead and mark that. That to me, if I was to get in long on the breakout, and sometimes I just journal this just to see how the markets and the way that I'm reading these markets perform. So if I was to play it, that would be the trade. It would be a trade, a break above that. I don't know if I could have found the long right here. Maybe I could have been able to find a long on a 3-bar reversal on the 5-minute chart. It's not unrealistic. Maybe I could have. I typically don't watch the Nikkei as much as I used to, but two great locations to buy it. After obviously looking at the hourly chart and seeing a little bit more of a confluence of buying these sell-offs, buying these dips on the Nikkei as well. And then when we zoom into the 5-minute chart, that's when it gives us the opportunity to find it. So let's watch. I'm going to watch this. I might keep coming back to the Nikkei as well. And maybe we get another opportunity. Maybe this market comes down and then gives us another opportunity to maybe try out a long for a slow markets trade. Okay, gold. We're moving right along here. We have 7 minutes until 8 p.m. Let's go ahead and take a look at gold. Now remember, if I don't get to your question, I apologize. We're going through fast. We have amazing moderators who will be able to, send me the questions that I do miss, and I try my best to get through some of them. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. The hourly chart on gold. We have been on such a strong bull trend. Going up and to the right. We are getting ever so closely to that $2,600 level. We did have that beautiful breakout overnight. We rallied really hard, and this is something we were looking at, right? So what a beautiful trade. Last night it was a little off in terms of just getting in and getting stopped out and taking that trade. In terms of how we get in, how we get out. We got chopped out last night during the 8 p.m. Central trade. But look at this. This was that pattern. This was the pattern. This was a beautiful head and shoulders, reverse head and shoulders trade. We had this neckline, this resistance. Unfortunately, I got whipped out and I got crushed right there. Right at that little candlestick is where last night I got triggered in and cut up, right? And then we came down, we made another shoulder, and then we had that beautiful rally. And that was such a beautiful rally when it was a clean break, and then we pushed all the way up to 25.70, and now we sold all the way back down. And sure enough, what was resistance became support. And so are we in a spot here in gold where, are we seeing another resistance level become support? Can we see a bounce and a continuation back up towards these highs? I'm not sure. Let's watch. I do see that there's a lot of resistance coming in right around these, 53 levels. That's what I'm going to be looking at tonight. Let's zoom into a 5-minute chart and start to zoom in. It's actually looking a little bit bearish on this 5-minute chart. Bearish, I mean, we had that sell-off. We're getting a pullback, and now we're starting to see a little bit of consolidation here. So maybe we see a sell-off down to 44. Maybe we see a sell-off down to 44. And then I would look for, I'd be okay with taking a long down to, if we got down to 44. I think tonight I'm going to wait for a reaction. So I'm going to wait the first 10 minutes of after 8 p.m. and then I'm going to try and take the reversal. This past little while, the past week and a half, the better trade on gold has been waiting for the move and then taking the reversal. So let's just watch it and let's see tonight at 8 p.m. We'll get that little spike in volatility, and we'll see if we could have a nice breakout trade in one direction or the other and then take a reversal. So as we wait, I'm going to go ahead and going to be taking that in my Express account. And we're going to go ahead and do that in some micros. We're going to see if we get a reverse here. Yeah, nice little volatility spike at 8 p.m. Central. So as I'm waiting, we still have 4 minutes. And then, of course, we're going to wait. We're going to watch to see how gold reacts. And then see if there's an opportunity to take a reversal. Okay, let's take a look. So someone's saying 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't know about a specific time, but we'll watch. We'll watch and see. Last night it was about 10 minutes, correct? Do you always use a 5-minute 3-bar reversal to enter a trade? Donald Keys, no, I don't, but it's one of the signals that I do use. I wouldn't say it's my only thing that I look at, but it's a strong one. It's a good one to help me confirm some of my trades when I'm taking reversal trades. Do you watch the DXY for reversal? I do not. I do not watch the DXY. Sorry. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because it's looking a little bearish to me in terms of just maybe getting a nice little sell-off down to 45s and then reverse or somewhere down here. I would love to see gold sell off, come down into these 40s, and then have that reversal to the long side. Elizabeth, how do you determine levels? Based on what? So I look at the very basics. I look at the very basics in terms of support and resistance. And this is a 1-minute chart. I like to look at the higher time frames like an hourly chart, daily chart, hourly chart, and then a 5-minute chart. But the basic idea is looking at these key pivot points, right? So like these are some pivot points on this time frame. This could be an hourly, daily, or whatever. And you can kind of see that overall, this is a resistance zone. Whether you want to take into consideration this entire zone, or maybe you want to take this zone as consideration, there's a lot of discretionary that comes to this. As a trader, you do have a little bit of discretion when it comes to understanding what levels you want, because essentially anybody could sit here all day and map out and draw every little pivot, every little support and resistance, and then your chart will just be so cluttered. At least for me, it becomes very, very cluttered. That's why I like to use those higher time frames as a support and resistance. Right now, one that I'm seeing is like this to me looks like a key area. And the reason why I believe that this is a key area is, there's some resistance. Resistance became support. It looks like we hesitated here for a minute. And, this was support there, support here. And then we're showing a little bit of support there as well. And even if we look further to the left, we had some hesitation there and some hesitation. So there's a lot of support and resistance, a lot of price action and pivots around this zone. So, that to me would be saying, okay, 25, 50, 51 is relatively a reasonable level. Now, I've done this for quite a while, and I could look at this and say, okay, and it takes me a little bit faster than normal than a lot of traders that looks at the chart and say, okay, it's going to take me a lot of time to map that out. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and the more you can start to identify it, right? Do I ever trade platinum? I do not. I actually have never traded platinum, to be honest. All right, 8 p.m. Central, here we go. Let's see if we see that spike in volatility. I am in my Express funded accounts. And we will see if we could get a nice reversal after the initial move. So I'm going to see if we could get an initial break in one direction or the other, and then take a reversal and see how that works out tonight. And then we'll journal it. Until then, let's watch gold, and I will answer questions. Let's keep this going. Let's answer some questions while we talk through and watch this gold play out. Evan, I will be reviewing statistics. It's going to be near the end of class. I'll be talking about a 100-tick chart. Google the phrase, that being said. Maybe, sure. Real accounts. Live account, no. This is still a simulated environment. And I mean, given it's an express funded account, it's not a demo account. I feel confident enough on trading gold. It's a micro account. I'm trading micros. Micro gold. Have you heard of quarters theory? It's a Forex system, and have been wondering if you could bring it to futures, or could bring it to futures. I haven't heard of that theory, but I do know that there's a lot that can work in Forex that could also work in futures. I'm not sure if the theories would be the same, but anything that I've seen from a technical aspect, it will work in Forex, and it works in futures as well. Quarterly, you mean? What did you... Dr. Brett was awesome, Flyer Jim. Dr. Brett was awesome. I mean, if you guys missed it, I would go back and rewatch it. Just go rewatch it. Psychologically, mentally, anything that has to do with your mental health. Trading, I loved his analogies, and one of my favorite parts of, I'm going to just butcher his name, Dr. Steenbarger, is the analogies to sports, right? I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan, and just like Kobe Bryant, just like any athlete that is at the top of their game, is they practice, right? And the more you practice with a purpose, and you practice just like you play, then when it comes to actually trading, it could be very second nature. And I loved all of his analogies. He's such a great person, such a great guest here at Topstep. And I love that MP and the team was able to get him on TopstepTV, not once, but twice, and hopefully even more into the future. Yeah, I miss Kobe. And he was the reason why I liked basketball. Kobe Bryant is why I started watching basketball. My favorite, I've been a Lakers fan since 2002. When Shaq and Kobe was at their, it was at their prime. I was little. And do quit knowing when to walk away. Lito, we're not going to be talking about Michael Jordan here. They're both the greats. I love to just mess with Andre and the team, and it's always fun to have that little debate between Michael Jordan and Kobe, or Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and then talk about Kobe. Nothing's really happening here in gold. Nothing's really happening. 5 minutes passed. What do we say? 10 minutes? Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and mark the 10-minute mark, and let's see if there is anything that happens. We'll say that's 10 minutes. We'll watch. Nothing's really happening yet. Larry Bird. Kobe owns LeBron. I think Kobe would beat LeBron in a 1-1. Kobe learned everything he knows from Michael Jordan. Yeah, Coach Hoop, I do. I have a wager with Eddie on my Green Bay Packers. Yep, my Green Bay Packers over the Bears. We're starting to push these highs. We're pushing to these highs. So I'm going to not be as tempted to short this if if we do get a nice rally, where would we find a reversal at? Maybe we get the reversal at 59, 58. There was some resistance here earlier around 59, 58. Let's watch it. Maybe we use time, or maybe even we get up to 55s. Just maybe we get up to this level and then we find that reversal. Or are we reversing here? Bucky Bill owns 1 share of Packer stock. My man. Greatest investment. This is turning into a sports talk, sports conversations. Okay, as we're watching gold, I'm going to answer a few more questions. If nothing happens, we'll just move on. I'll give it until 15 minutes after. Dakota, when should we realize that our strategy is not working and rethink our trading system? Ooh, that is a good question. That is a very difficult question. Essentially, I think we all go through that as traders as well. When do we realize our strategy just is not working, right? When is it our strategy or is it me? And then how do I know whether it's strategy or what's going on? And I think by journaling, by trying to be as consistent as you can and sticking to the same exact entry and exit and stick with the system, even if you're losing money, you stick with the system, right? Process over profits. And after a period of time based off of yourself, right? Say 2 months, say a month, say 3 months, whatever time frame you believe is right for you and your strategy, then take a step back and say, am I profitable, right? Very simple. And see how the system performed. And if you believe it didn't perform that you believe it should, then you could either change something about the system. You could just start a whole new system. The only thing I don't like to see is when traders bounce system to system to system to different and different, then they get stuck in this circle of always changing their trading style, always changing the system, and they never get to perfect any real system in general, I guess. I'm trying to think of it like a jack of all trades, right? You know how to trade everything, but you're not good at one thing. I kind of was like that because I have half the time I understand what Hogue and Coach Jay and the team's talking about when it comes to understanding volume, understanding like maybe, for example, my trading buddy Rips, he's reading the order book and all this stuff. And to me, it's just over my head. I just in one ear, out the other. I understand a little bit of it, but I don't spend my time. I'm not trading off of it. I don't pay attention to it. And it has nothing to do with the way that I'm trading. I'm really good based off these technical analysis and then what I currently do, that I feel confident and comfortable trading the way I trade instead of trying to spread myself out. So yeah, that would be my best advice. Try and find something you like and then try and tweak it and adjust it. You're always going to be changing. You will always be changing if you are a good trader, and the better the trader you are, the better you are at changing as the market changes as well. CB, does he trade? Does who trade? Coach Nikkei. Okay, let's take a look at Nikkei. I was actually more tempted at Nikkei. Let me see. I'm gonna take a look around at these different markets real quick. I don't want to get in long Nikkei, actually. Don't sleep on the Mexican peso. Yeah, adapt to the market. I've had to change this year. I've had to change the way I've traded probably 2 times this year. And I should have most likely changed a little bit more. The faster one can adapt, the more beneficial it is for them. Do we like a long? Long was to get on that pullback, right? Let's take a look. I'm just going through this. I'm probably going to be talking out loud on a lot of this. I would have liked a deeper pullback. I was really wanting a pullback around these 700s. I would have rather... I'm going to wait. I'm going to pass. I would like to see a deeper pullback closer to 700. So I'm going to pass on the Nikkei. I'm going to jump around and see. Let me know, guys, if gold has moved. Gold's kind of just chopping around. We are getting right up about 12 minutes past. And I am actually starting to like it. Gonna get in short gold, micro gold. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna, okay, risking 18 ticks. Let's see if we get a pushback down. The first profit I'm looking at is these lows back here to the lows, risking 18 to make 28. And if we do get a deeper sell-off, maybe we could even see a run or a test down here to these 43s. So let's watch this. Something small. I might even consider closing it out if we break back up above 54.7. Do you ever use Higinashi candles? I do not. Jeremy Smith, always waiting for a deeper pullback. Yeah, that tends to be the name of the game. And then when you do get in long, you get that deeper pullback. You really do. Alex P, why are summer months harder to trade? Because there is low volume and it could be very whipsaw. Like little volume can move the markets. It can be tough. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this stop loss up, risking 10 ticks. And you know what? I'm not going to put a take profit. Let's trail this. That is the reversal. That's the reversal I was kind of wanting. It didn't come exactly at 10 p.m. after. It came at 12 minutes after, not 12 p.m. 12 minutes after 8 p.m., we did get a reversal. So let's see how this reversal plays out. Risking 10 ticks and looking to make, you know, let's see what, a 26 ticks. So that would be a 2-to-1. This would be a 2-to-1 risk reward. I'm going to go for more. I'm going to see if I could get a little bit more off of this. Let's see if we could get, maybe we trail it. The stretch take profit's going to be 100 ticks, right? I mean, that is reasonable, coming down, maybe back down to that, maybe 89 ticks. So a 10-to-1 risk reward is very reasonable on this. So it could be a 10-to-1 risk reward on a trade here. See, I do take trades. Was that the trade? Was that the trade? So do we do journal? Let's do journals. Oh my gosh, here we go. Now I wish we wasn't in micros, huh? Whenever trades work out like this, you wish they were minis. If only it was a mini. If only we had more on. That's how it always works out, right? I mean, it's a half a mini, 5 micros. 5 micros. It's not, the trade is a trade. Remember, it's process over profits. Every winning trade, you wish it was bigger. Every losing trade, you wish it was smaller. So let's go through. I'm going to go ahead and journal this out. It's process over profits. The same way I am trading this now would be the same way that I would trade a mini. And the same way I trade 3 minis, 5 minis, whatever it is. It's the process over profits. We had a game plan. We had a game plan going into this trade. And now let's execute it. We're executing the game plan. So the game plan was to wait for the initial move, and then we take the reversal. We said that at the very beginning, and now we have to follow the rules. So the first thing we want to do is let's go ahead and put normal stop loss, and I'm going to do this as an aggressive trailing stop. So this is going to be an aggressive trailing stop, normal stop loss. We're going to go ahead and do minus 10 ticks. So the first take profit was hit. We're going to go ahead and do the first take profit as a winner because I do like that. That was one of them I was looking at. Let's go ahead and do this. And it was at plus 28 ticks, right? Yep, plus 20, we'll say 26. So the first take profit would have been amazing. It would have been a 2.5 to 1 risk reward. The first take profit worked out really, really well. I mean, that was it, right? That was the trade. As soon as it set up, it happened in 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes, basically in and out. 26 ticks, risking 10 to make 26. So that first trade would have been great. I'm going to use a trailing stop for this. Because I do see if we continue to sell off, we could see a push down here into these mid to lower, 40s, 25 40s. And for the sake of the education, let's watch this. And now, so we have the normal stop loss, we have the first take profit, and the next is going to be an aggressive trailing stop. So let's go ahead and aggressive trailing stop. I'm just getting it set up. Going through and doing the fun typing and all that. Aggressive step, I'm just going to do as a default. Let's watch this. Let's watch it. I've been doing this strategy for the past 2 weeks and it's been working every time. Great. That's great to hear. And that's the point of this. It's not a signals class, but it's here, and I really am here to help traders learn how to build a strategy. You don't have to do this exact thing. Maybe you're doing something similar in a different market during a different time of day. The idea is to show consistency, doing the same thing every single night, every single day. It's the same thing day in, day out. It can be very boring. It's very repetitive. As you guys see, it's the same stuff. The market is different, right? Because the market reacts differently. The market changes. We were playing good breakouts. Breakouts stopped working. And now even going into the night, and big shout out to the traders who called it, is 10 minutes after the 8 p.m. we've been getting a reversal. And sure enough, guess what? We went into tonight and said, let's wait for the initial move. And then we get in on the reversal. And we waited for the initial move and we got in at the reversal. So, I mean, I can't stress this enough, how much I love to do this. And this is why I love trading. It's never boring. It's never the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead, aggressive trailing stop, plus 14 ticks. Plus 14 ticks. And if we break down, I'm going to go ahead and move the normal stop loss down there. If we do break down, I do not mind moving the normal stop loss. This is a little bit aggressive on this end. And then, like I said, there's so many different ways to manage this. Am I mute? What else? I'm curious on what Nikkei's doing. Nikkei, I mean, that was another trade, right? I was waiting for a deeper pullback on the Nikkei. We didn't get that yet. Now, here's one thing, is we're spending enough time down here. I'm actually going to be okay with just being stopped out at 15 ticks. I'll be okay with 15 ticks. Aggressive stop loss. We're going to go ahead and do normal stop loss plus 15. So risk 10, making plus 15 on the stop loss or plus 26 on the take profit. So the first take profit has been the better performer. The normal stop loss, plus 15. So I already got a 1.5 risk reward. R locked in. Yeah, obviously with hindsight, take profit is usually better once you're stopped out. Or what time is it? It's 21 minutes after. Maybe there's a time stop, right? Maybe you could even say a time stop. Maybe we say at 8:30 Central. If we do not move, we could just close out of it. But we'll watch. I'm okay. Like I said, this is just a micro. This is purely for education and to go through this. I mean, these are still a legitimate trade. So for some reason, some traders say it's not legitimate or you don't like it unless it's taken in a or an express funded account or a live account. Even though it's the same stuff, the idea is for the education and to ask questions. But for some people, so be it. I'm not one to judge. Dakota, what are your thoughts on adding to a short if it breaks past 25.50? So the question is, what is my thoughts if I add to the short if it breaks below, say, this level? Yeah, that's reasonable. I do like that. For example, if I do think it's going to come down here into these 2440s, these lower 2440s, then yes, adding if we do have a breaker continuation can be reasonable. We already got a decent move, and so if I get in to another position here, I think it's just too far away. There's been other nights where I have added before. We are 23 minutes past 8 p.m. So, time is too big of a factor for me. The trade is really the first 20 minutes from 8 p.m. till like 8:20 p.m. Central for this type of a trade. We see a nice spike in volatility. And then after that, just in and out, purely, let's see if we could get a trade, get in, get out, and go through this. One more question. I have problems holding winning trades long enough. What is your suggestion? Like I said, follow your process. Process over profits. 100%. Process over profits. So here we are. We're testing these 49.9. And so the question was, do we add to the break? So far, we didn't break. We tested it. We tested 49.9. Here we go. We're going to test it again. Let's see if we could break it. Staying down there. Oh, you know what? Why did I delete that aggressive trailing stop? I think I was just assuming I was going to be stopped out. So I still need that aggressive trailing stop in here. This trade's not done yet. Let's see. I thought it was going to stop me out, but, it did not. We'll continue to watch this. Furious Tiger, can you explain how I saw this move? Well, going into tonight, like I said, we said we're going to wait till 8 p.m. Central. We're going to wait for the initial move. And then 10 minutes passed. We're going to try and find a reversal. The initial move was to the long side. And then 10 minutes passed, we got the reversal. We started to sell off, and you guys seen how I entered it. Like, that was it. It's as simple as that. Not a lot of complex. Like, there's no indicators. There's not a whole bunch of bells and whistles to secret, like, proprietary secrets to trading. Like, there really isn't. If someone says they have a proprietary system to trading, and they're going to teach you, they're just full of crap. They are. There's not one person I've ever met that says they have a proprietary system and they're going to teach you how to trade and they charge you money for anything. It's just full of crap. I mean, large funds and institutions spend millions and millions, if not billions of dollars on advanced, computer and technology and wages and employees to understand these markets. There's no way some dude is going to have some proprietary system. And if they do, they're not going to even say anything about it. And if they do, and they say something about it, they're definitely not going to be giving it away or telling somebody else or selling it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and if I am, show me. Maybe I want it. I want that. I want to find a way to make more money. Trust me, I'm going through the same thing everybody here goes through. I have to change with these markets. I struggle just as much as everybody else does. I get beat up just like everybody else does. Yeah, you guys see me. That's what I love Topstep about it. Like, what got me yesterday, Monday morning during fast markets, as we're watching this trade play out. Okay, there's my aggressive stop loss. That's my aggressive stop loss right there. That's going to be plus 23 ticks. I like that. Aggressive stop loss. I'm going to use this as the aggressive one. We're doing it. Aggressive stop loss right there. We found a little bit of buyers, and I'm okay with moving my stop loss a lot sooner than later. We're coming up. It's been 27 minutes after 8 p.m. But anyway, I love the transparency here at Topstep. Absolutely. What got me Monday morning, when I was on fast markets yesterday morning, I love Eddie. Eddie introduced, he gave me an amazing introduction. He's like, coming off his daily loss limit, where I hit my daily loss limit on Friday, and then Eddie announces it Monday morning coming on to TopstepTV. Oh, it cracks me up. This trade's just starting to get boring. Do you ever go over trades that you have taken in fast markets? I do. I can. If I do have time, I will go over trades that I take on fast markets. Do you ever watch other traders on YouTube to learn how people trade? I would think it'd be interesting to hear your take on some of them. The Real Chad, I do watch Rips trade on his YouTube channel. Sometimes I will. I don't really have much time. I know back when I started trading, I would spend so much time on YouTube. I would watch Tom Sajnoff and Tasty Trades a lot. I learned a lot about options watching Tom Sajnoff and Tasty Trades. But I do like to watch traders trade. I don't have as much time as I do, but I do. Yes, I learn a lot. I'm learning just like everybody else. You should never stop learning. All right. Well, this is boring. Let's look at these other markets. Let's start talking about a slow markets concept. Let's watch this trade play out. You guys keep an eye on gold for me. If something happens, let me know. This is too boring for me to sit here and watch. Usually I like to place trades and then go. I don't like watching my trades play out. Let's go take a look. That being said, NASDAQ. So NASDAQ is there's a trade that I see that's setting up. Okay. So I want to go over it. I'm going to switch to my combine. We're going to go talk about it through a combine. So what I am seeing here in the NASDAQ, let's go ahead and look at MNQ because I want to talk through an overnight trade. So as I go through this, let me do that something. Yep, there you go. Man, you know what? Before I go through this, I loved MP's idea. I'm always too convenient and I'm always too nice. And I let people get away with probably more than they should in the chat. But I'm starting to like MP's idea of weeding out the chat and getting some of the weeds out of the garden, so to speak. I see a lot of too many spammers, and I've always been too nice, turn the other cheek, and I'm always nicer, giving everybody, the shadow of the doubt, giving them always too much. But you know what? I'm starting to warm up to the idea of getting rid of some of the people. that causes and stirs up the crap. Now, getting back to the NASDAQ, this is purely a trading concept. Okay, everybody, please hear and understand my words. And to make sure you guys hear and understand them, I'm going to put this in the chat again because this is very important. So, this is not a signals class. Please hear me out. This is not a signals class. Do not take this exact trade. This is purely a concept. I'm doing this for slow markets because it's for education, and I think this is a great concept. This is how I trade. This is what I like to trade. This is how I like to trade. I like to place orders, whether it's a buy limit, buy stop, sell stop, and I let them run overnight while I'm sleeping. When I wake up, then it's either triggered me in, stop me out, or hit my take profit. Now, that being said, I'm liking a good setup in the NASDAQ, but it looks like gold's on the move. Come on, gold. Gold's already just tanking. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna get out of it. Ugh, do I get out of it? Because this is for education. I can't just get out of it for education. Dang it. I want to start talking about NASDAQ, and I don't really care about the result of the... Let's just watch it. You know what? Screw it. We're watching this. You guys probably want to see this a lot more. Well, then we could talk about the NASDAQ trade after this. This is right here, right now. We're selling off. I don't see a reason to lower my stops. I do see a reason to have this my normal stop. So this is how I would normally trail it. And let's see if there's a reason for aggressive trail. The second take profit is going to be around these, what do we say? 45, maybe an argument for 48. But we're starting to sell off here. We were only risking 10 ticks now. Remember, guys, risking 10 ticks, we're up 45 ticks. Yeah, I have a lot to go over tonight. Talking about that, NASDAQ overnight trade. Then we'll be talking about the 100 tick chart. And then we're going to try and get some trader statistics. All that in 30 minutes. So we'll see. Using the trailing stop feature and forget about it. Yeah, I'm just not feeling confident in using that yet. Look at this breakdown. That's why I love to trail my stops or trades. I love to trail my trades. I'm going to go ahead and trail it. This is going to be a very aggressive trailing stop. Aggressive trailing stop, trailing it, plus 42 ticks. Trailing it the past right over that bar right there. If we get a little 3-bar reversal on the 1 minute, yeah, right there, it's going to stop me out. There we go. So 42 ticks, plus 42 ticks, and then we'll do a hypothetical on a normal. So there we go. 42 ticks, risking 10 to make 42. The normal is plus 23. You're probably right. All right, and then we have to do this. The entry price, let's go ahead and take a look at the entry price. It was this gold trade entry at 53.8. So we're going to go ahead and put in the entry price at 53.8. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And we're going to do an entry, short entry. And then this was the trade, And so the reason why I decide to cut it is because lately this aggressive trailing stop has been outperforming the normal trailing stop, because my normal trailing stop would still be up here. But lately this has been a much better performer in terms of my normal trailing stop. Just very aggressive. It's already 36 minutes past 8 p.m. We'll come back. Before this ends, we'll just come back to see how this gold plays out for that normal trailing stop. Plus 23 ticks on the normal. Maybe there'd be a reason to like, okay, that's the normal, and we'll try and do that calculation from there. But so far, there you go. Risking 10 ticks to make 42, a 4-to-1 risk reward. You can lose that trade over 70% of the time and still have a positive expectancy. Now, back to NASDAQ. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the hourly. So this is a trade that I absolutely love. This is a setup. Like I said, in the YouTube chat, I'm going to paste it one more time. Our Topstep risk disclosure. This is for educational purposes only. If you would like, I would recommend following along, just like follow along with me in a demo account, in a practice account, just like as like a painting class where it's like follow the painter, because this is how I trade. And if you want to maybe learn how to trade similar, you could very well do it by following, right? I like to do by following, and everyone learns differently. So what I like to do is I use the daily chart, okay? We have a very overextended rally. We are at a level of resistance, okay? So extended rally, level of resistance. I'm okay, and I do like looking for shorts around here. So that being said, I will zoom into an hourly chart, and I will say, if the market sells off, where would I get in, and what would I consider a trigger to enter me into a short? Well, what I would like to see, if between now and tomorrow, if we do sell off between London session sometime tomorrow and we sell off, we get into a short. I would be okay with that. But however, I don't want to get in using a sell limit, meaning the market needs to go higher. So I don't want the market to go higher to get me into a short, because this market's already in a bullish market and we can rally. However, I would much rather wait for us to sell off and break down. And so the question is, well, how would I like to short this market? Well, I don't want to short it while we're rallying, because these rallies have been really strong, and I don't want to be getting in when the market is going against me, just because we're going against the current trend. I would like to be getting in as the market breaks down. And so that being said, I would look for a sell stop. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this in there for an example. Let's go ahead, and these are micros. So it's, instead of $20 per point, it's only $2 per point. So let's just say I'm going to do a sell stop. And I'm doing this on the 1 hour chart. The first area I like for a sell stop is going to be, let's say, 740. If we do break below this area, then I would be okay with a sell stop. And then I like to zoom in and think like, okay, you know what? Maybe a sell stop either below this, maybe below this one, right? So I'm just looking for areas that a possible breakdown could occur. So, there's one. Maybe this one would look attractive. Maybe this one would be attractive. So I have a rough idea. The next thing I like to do is I will zoom into a 5-minute chart. Okay, 5-minute chart. And I look, well, we have the point of interest, right? We see these two nice little pivots, this double bottom that we made during the New York session. And, that is a realistic area. If we break below 742, then that could be a good trigger in. However, the first thing I ask myself, where would my stop loss be? Well, based off of this, my realistic stop loss, I wouldn't want it, I'd probably all the way up here. That's 873. That's about 130 points. That's too big of a stop loss. Even at $2 a tick, $2 a tick, 130 points, that's $260. And then that would be me risking $260. Now, would my take profits be a 1-to-1? Well, if I'm looking for the market, if I'm looking for the market to come down towards 700, nope. If this is my take profit, say 700, that is not a 1-to-1. So that's a really ugly risk reward. So for me to be comfortable with this, I want to get to as close to a 1-to-1 or greater. And which means that, maybe a break below this is a lot more realistic, which I'm actually starting to like. If we break below, say, 782, then that is more realistic to a 1-to-1, saying if we sell off between tonight and tomorrow and we start to break down below this, support that we had, I'm going to look for the market to sell off down below towards 700. And so that being said, just eyeballing it right now, if I'm looking for a stop loss at 70 or 873 and a half, and my entry is 873 and a half, and then my take profit is at, let's just say 703, just ending in 3. Remember, this is just an example. So entry would be, if the market sells off, it will trigger me into a short at 783. My take profit is 703. So my take profit is 83 points. So I'm looking to make 83 points or 80 points. I'm looking to make 80 points, and my risk would be, it's actually right around 90 points. So that isn't that great either. So the next thing I ask myself is that realistic for a stop loss? If this market does sell off, is this a realistic stop loss? Well, if it does sell off and we do break down below, then to be honest, a better stop loss could possibly be, 836, right? We're starting to make a pivot here. We do have, and this is where I'm starting to look at support and resistance a little bit better. And so, maybe saying 830, let's see, I'm just trying to do this good for an example. Let's just say 843, just getting it to end in a 3, would be a better example. So now I'm looking to make 80 ticks, and I'm only risking 60 ticks. So that is not ticks, points, right? So looking to make 80, risking 60. So that is a better 1-to-1. It's just over 1-to-1. So this would be more realistic of a trade. Now this is on micros, and now we could do the math on micros. So for example, if I am going to have this as my trade, I need to know how big of a position size I want to get in. And the first thing I ask myself is, how much do I want to risk? Well, I like to risk between $300 and $400. Well, if I am risking 60 points and I'm at $2 per point, then this is $120 worth of risk. So I'm okay with risking, say, $400, which means I could get into 4 micros. So I could trade 4 micros at this position with this take profit and this stop loss. So I like this trade. Like I said, purely for education, it's an example. I'm going to put it on. Let's put it on. I'm going to show you how to put this trade on. So first thing I do is I go into these settings and I say my risk, $360. My profit is going to be 80 points at $2 a point, and I'm doing 3 contracts. My profit is going to be 480. That is a good risk reward. It's over 1-to-1. And I like 1-to-1 or greater for breakout trades is what I like. So let's go ahead and put this on the books. 783, I'm going to go ahead and we want 3 of them on. Make sure everything's good. So going to go ahead and put sell stop 3. Okay, it's in there. So now what I do is I am perfectly fine turning my computer off and going to bed. So what this will mean is when I go to bed, The market, if it goes up, I do not get triggered in. If the market goes sideways, I do not get triggered in. The only way I get triggered in is if the market sells off. Now, once I'm triggered in, only 3 things could happen, right? It goes up, I get stopped out, I lose $360. Or it continues down, it hits my take profit, I make $408. Or when I wake up, we're somewhere in between, and then I could either choose to close it or let it run. That is basically how I trade. I forgot to click a box. Let's make sure. Let's make sure everything's correct. This is why it's automatically apply risk / there you go. Good shout out. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Always focus. There's lots of room for mistakes sometimes. So let's go ahead and put this back on there. And then, like I said, tomorrow night. Here's the beauty, right? Did I not do it? Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay. So tomorrow night, Scott. Yeah, so tomorrow night we'll go back to this and we will review this trade. We can talk about it, right? So remember, education purpose only. This is not a signals class. We could follow along in a demo account, practice account, just getting used to it. Let's go ahead and let's take... Man, see, time just goes by so freaking fast. Let's talk about the 100 tick chart. I said I'll talk about the 100 tick chart. Let's talk about it. The 100 tick chart. Going to briefly go over this, and then I'm going to talk about the 100 tick chart every single night tonight, guys. So I'll talk a little bit about tonight, then tomorrow, and then I'm going to continue to build on it. I'm going to focus on the 100 tick chart until you guys are done with questions, and I feel like I covered it enough. So go ahead, 100 tick chart, and then we'll do a couple statistics to end the night. Even if this stream goes a little bit over, I'm sure you guys would be okay. If this stream goes over, those of you who want to stay probably will be happy. The way I use a 100 tick chart is similar to the way I use a 5-minute chart during my slow markets. So, for example, the way I just set up that trade, you guys seen that? Where I started on the hourly or the daily chart. See how I started on the daily chart? And, this is the daily chart. And I have a setup, or I seen, okay, I'm going to get into looking for shorts around this area, and I'm going to look for some shorts. Then I zoomed into an hourly chart, and on the hourly chart, I said, okay, if we do get in a short, then maybe this could be an area to, have a breakdown, or maybe even this is an area to have a breakdown. Then I zoom into a 5-minute chart, and you've seen that on the 5-minute chart, I actually placed my order on a 5-minute chart. Well, the same way I use the 5-minute chart is the same way I use the 100 tick chart during the New York session. During the New York session, if you guys haven't seen, I have my charts like this. It's very ugly. It's split up. I have a 5-minute chart on the left-hand side, and I have a 100 tick chart on my right-hand side. So the way I use the hourly chart during my slow markets class is the same way I use my 5-minute chart in the New York session. So over here on the 5-minute chart, I'm going to just do this as an example. Let's say I'm looking at the 5-minute chart and I'm saying, okay, well, we're starting to consolidate. It looks like maybe we're having a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder over here on the 5-minute chart, and maybe I'm going to look for a, some type of a short on the breakdown, right? And then I'm looking at this on the 5-minute chart, then I'll come over here on the 100 tick chart, and it looks very similar because there's not a lot of volume, so maybe this is a bad example. Let's go ahead. I'm going to do a better example. I'm going to do a trade. I'm going to show you guys a trade that I took during the New York session. How about that? Okay, here's a trade I took during the New York session, and I'll explain this as clear as mud. I'll explain it as clear as possible. Okay, 5-minute chart. Okay, I'm gonna line this up right there at you guys. Right as we were finishing up fast markets, we was talking, do we lock the house account up? Do we keep it open? Do we lock it up? I was looking for a long. You guys, seeing what I was looking at, maybe I was looking at, higher lows. I was looking at higher highs, and I was looking for us to have a break into the 840s, 850s, back into this resistance. This is on a 5-minute chart. So what I would look for is like, hey, we're coming back down into this support line. Maybe we're going to make a higher low. And so over here on the 100 tick chart, go all the way back there. Okay, so now on the 100 tick chart, it's just like Google Maps. We're zooming in. You can see how there's a lot more clarity, right? So if we highlight this, look at that. See how I'm highlighting it over here on the 5-minute chart? And then over here on the 100 tick chart, it's doing the same. See on the 5-minute chart, it's just 2 candlesticks. Over here on the 100 tick chart, it is a lot of consolidation. There's definitely a difference. So there's a lot to this when it comes to clarity. And so we're on the 100 tick chart. If we're going to just see how the price action works, right? So now if we're going to highlight this, right? So we tested that. Where do you find the buy signal on that? For me, it's hard to see where you buy when we come down and test it, right? But over here, it's a lot clearer, right? You could see easier consolidation. You could see, maybe some patterns. You could see a breakout. It gives you, and we could even shrink this down, right? See how tiny that is? But it's a lot easier to see. It's just like Google Maps. You're zooming in. And this does move really fast. So the setup's on the 5-minute chart, but the execution is on the 100 tick chart. And so let's keep going. And we're going to go to the trade that I did take earlier, right there. So we started to sell off. We were right back down into this area. And here it is. I said, okay, we're right back down there. I'm going to look for either a double bottom, a 3-bar reversal, a head and shoulders, some type of technical analysis to say buy, right? I'm using this as purely an execution. This is the trade setup. This is the execution. And then, sure enough, boom, we got kind of a double bottom. I'm going to eliminate, how do I get rid of that? Going to get rid of this. So there's where it was. What I seen was this happens very fast. We had the one test. We had a little pivot high. We had another test, and then we kind of like a double bottom. And so for me, the trade would be the break above that and say, okay, we confirmed the double bottom. We did have another sell-off. I was waiting. And as soon as we broke above this is when I got triggered in. You can see where it's a lot cleaner. See how there's a lot of pivots, right? That there's a lot of this. It's a lot cleaner and it's a lot clearer to see the resistance. Sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes I get lucky and I'm able to catch a 3-bar reversal here. Man, see how clean that is, right? That's a very clean and clear resistance, right? It starts to get a lot clean and clear, right? And there's the breakout. Like, man, it's so beautiful. I love this. When it works out like this, and show me that on the 5-minute chart, it's a lot difficult. Maybe you could see the 3-bar reversal, right? You could see that 5-bar reversal, or that 3-bar reversal right there. See, look, I'm over here on the 5-minute chart, and that was a 5-bar reversal, or 3-bar reversal on the 5-minute chart. And then, of course, my stop loss is going to be the low. So my stop loss would be, I think it was even lower than this. I think it was 77. Entry, stop loss, and then take profit was I think it was 43, 44, somewhere up there. So I wouldn't say a 3-bar reversal is valid, right? Because there was no 3-bar reversal here, and there was nothing there. We just went down, tested it, and reversed. However, there could have been a very, similar and a valid trade set up, same situation, right? Maybe you were able to catch that break to the long side. But that's what I'm looking at. This is what I'm looking at. Now, remember, this is more advanced. Can be a little bit difficult. Sometimes I don't use a 5 minute. Sometimes I do use a 1 minute chart. And all that does is help me gain some clarity as well, right? So if I switch to a 1 minute chart, you could kind of see, you could see something similar on the 1 minute chart, right? And you could see it a little bit more clearer. However, on the 1 minute chart, you lack kind of a zoomed out view. You don't get to see as much on the 1 minute chart. So 5 minute chart, you have a little bit sense of some stronger support and resistance because I could see some of the major support and resistance levels. Oh man. Yeah, that took, I could sit here for hours, everybody. I could literally sit here for hours. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I'll continue to talk about this throughout the evenings. Let's take a look at some trader statistics before we end it. And that was a lot, right? That was a lot. I don't want to look at that one. Let's go through. All right, I had a request. Someone really wanted me to look at this statistics. It's a combine, and I'll continue to do that. So, man, yeah, that you only get that here at slow markets. Yeah, I don't go over that very often, to be honest, guys. It's not like it's a secret at anything. It's just simple. Markets are fractal. You zoom out, zoom in. But hopefully that helped. If it helps someone, great. So someone wanted me to go through this. It's a combine, not, combine's a combine, right? A lot of traders use it. Don't take it serious, but this is a combine. This trader looks like they are using this combine as it should be. You're not trying to pass it in 2 days. I'm doing it. This is an amazing example for somebody who is sharing their statistics in a combine. $3,700. Beautiful. Great trade. Love to see it. Looks like you're in a 100K account balance. I'd like to see that you've been in here for, a good amount of time. It's almost a month that you're trading in a combine. I love to see that. Trading in a combine for a full month, having good positive statistics, trade winning percentage just under 60%, risk reward around 1%. I love this. I don't see this very often. Somebody in a combine that's trading really well and trading consistent. So big shout out to you. Beautiful bell curve. The losing trades are to the downside, winning trades to the upside. But look at this. This makes me happy. Journaling. This person is journaling every single day, almost every single day. And not only journaling every day, not many trades. 2 trades, 7, 2, 1, 2, 13 on the high end, but 3. So not very many trades, and you are journaling. So I love to see it. Keep it up. It looks like you're doing pretty well. Don't try and size up and try and pass sooner than you should. Just stay consistent. And then here's the thing. When you do get into a express funded account, do not trade any different. Keep trading like this. Let's go ahead. Let's look at one more, and then we will finish it out. One more. Last one, and we'll finish it up. Okay, here's another combine. Tonight's just combines, I guess. Similar thing, right? Combine account, not much going on here. Even less days. Stay trading small, consistent. High win percentage, upside down risk reward. Not too much going on. Very quick trading, so it looks like you're extremely scalping. You're letting your losers run over on the high end, so that is a little bit scary. That is scary when you let your winners cut your winners short under 15 seconds. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's working for you. Good job. If it works, don't knock it. That being said, all right, guys, that is where we are going to leave it off. Remember, go rewatch Brett Steenbarger. It was an amazing segment. It was great. And if you guys haven't caught it already, join Coach Jay for At the Buzzer. He has a lot of knowledge. I'm excited to continue to see him grow the At the Buzzer. And then, of course, Nick for a Tick on Sundays. Me, obviously, I'm going to be here. Slow Markets. I love you guys. And then D during the London session. Man, it's never boring. And you guys get to see it morning, night, and day, 6 days a week. I wish I had something like this when I was learning how to trade. It's a completely understatement on how much value that Topstep has been able to provide to its community. And regardless, it's free. It's free here on YouTube that you could watch at any time. That's something to really behold, and something that you guys should never take for granted. And that being said, I will catch you guys tomorrow during Power Hour. Take care.